if you need to think about it, that's fine.
The way that I would describe a professional in this field is one who has made a commitment to the field of early childhood education. Someone who has, for myself, I'm sorry, someone who has thought very deeply about what it is and how to educate young children, how we would go about it, how I would go about it, and strive to find the kind of education that would help me to develop into the best teacher or administrator in that field. I think education is very important, and I think that constantly educating, not just going to college or taking a few classes or going to a professional development workshop. It's that lifelong learning constantly about the field and keeping abreast of what's going on and what's new.
If you think back to when you first began in the field, has your sense of being a professional changed?
Yes, because when I first started back, when I went into the field, I went from being a homemaker for many years to deciding that this is the field I wanted to be in. And in the beginning, it was just, I was doing it because people kept saying, oh, you'd be great at it, you'd be great at it. But the more I got into it, the more I realized what a need there was for quality people that made commitments for a longer time than just a short, brief, I'll do it for a few years and then I'll find something else to do. And I think as I grew in the field, I felt more success, more respect, and certainly saw how children were, what's the word I want, how children were reacting to the type of education that we could offer as early childhood professionals.
Can you think back on the way that you defined a sense of team building with your staff?
A sense of team building, I always felt with the staff that I had in the past that I always looked for the qualities in the staff that we could all learn from. And there might be there was a teacher who wanted to present workshops to her staff, and she was very good at it in a certain area. And I tried very hard to support those staff members that felt that they could share knowledge that maybe we could learn from. I always tried to have that professional development available, always letting staff know when there was things available for them and making sure that money was available to them so that that wasn't going to be the blocking for not being able to gain future education or future knowledge in that field.
Did you use reflective practice in terms of supervision of your staff?
Probably not as much as I had. Now, as I'm older, I look at it and think that how valuable reflective thinking is. But I think early on I was more trying to gain the trust and the of the staff, and trying to, in my position, trying to rebuild a staff that had been sort of left by the wayside and just needed a strong leader to get them back on track. So I did a lot of self-reflection, but probably not enough with staff.
So when you say a strong leader, how would you describe an effective, strong leader?
An effective, I think there's two things in a leader. I think that a leader needs to make a commitment, and a leader has to develop trust. And I think without those two components, it's very hard to lead a staff.
some of the challenges that you had as a director?
When I look back at it, I don't know that I don't know that I had that many challenges. I think probably being in a program that I was in, which was connected to elementary ed, there was always the challenge of and the pressure of keeping families in the school to make sure they move through the school. The challenge for me personally sometimes was maybe that child was not a good fit to move on, but there was that pressure to keep the family. Within the staffing, I pretty much was able to hire staff that were going to work well with the program. So I think that was a really positive thing for me. The challenges and the hardest things is when the staff, they kind of team together and kind of, we start butting heads. But I have sort of that strong personality where I was very firm as if staff were not moving along the way I would like them to, that maybe that particular place was not the best place for them to be. And it's very hard too to have staff leave. But I think staff, for the most part, it worked out well.
Okay. Who and how did you advocate for others through your position in the program? What is advocacy to you?
Probably one of the things that, and I continue to do this, I was both a teacher and a director, so I shared that position. And part of it was being a mentor teacher. I was always looking for teachers within my group that I thought would be quality teachers that could be mentor teachers to other teachers. And that to me, I was always trying to advocate for the quality teachers that we needed in the field, giving them information, coaching them along, mentoring them along. Even though myself as a mentor would get students from the community colleges and mentor them, I always wanted and hoped that I could have teachers within my own program, because I always felt that there were a few teachers that really had all of the things in place that would be mentor teachers.
So how did you mentor yourself, or did you find a mentor for yourself? Because as a leader, you are thinking a lot in terms of how to support your staff, but how do you support oneself and continue your professional development in this role?
I had a group of peers that we were all in the same kind of position, whether we directors or teacher directors, and it was a support group basically. And I felt that group not only helped me to get through, but I would be able to help them. We would share things that were going on. I also had people before I got into that position that were mentors to me, that I always kind of took different little pieces from what they mentored me and how they mentored me, that I could turn around and mentor others.
Okay. Can we switch?